Greetings adventurers, I'm Lorne Gaming, and I'll be your guild advisor for this video. This year's Halloween event, Orario Outbreak, has just been released, and with it, we got a new batch of time-limited characters to use our hopefully copious amounts of Iris on. Before you start going hard on the banners, I'd like to give you my thoughts on the new characters, including the free event 4-star character, Living Dead Child Belle. First, I'll go over the new adventurers and the new Dark Divine Riveria assist, and she is divine. Anyways, first up is Starving Mind Eyes, a physical attacker that deals in dark damage. Her special is Mortal Encounter, a single target ultra dark physical attack with a temporary strength boost. Overall, this is a pretty standard high damaging move, meant for single target boss fights like Record Buster, and as you'll see later, this unit looks targeted towards the Riveria Record Buster. Her first combat skill is Devour Magic, a single target mid-dark physical attack with a temporary strength boost that will also decrease enemy dark resistance by 25% for 4 turns. Her second combat skill is Bone Splitter, a single target mid-dark physical attack with a temporary strength boost and decreases enemy magic by 30% for 4 turns. And finally, her third combat skill is Hunger, a single target low dark physical attack that increases Eye's strength by 75% for 4 turns. Just looking at this set of moves, you should be reminded of another character, who also happens to be a version of Eyes, Honor Princess Eyes. Unlike Honor Princess, who is single target focus and reduces strength and enemy physical resistance, Starving Mind Eyes is a dark physical attacker who will reduce magic and enemy dark resistance. Because of her single target focus and magic debuff, she is a great fit for fights against magic using bosses, like the magic based Riveria Record Buster. Do keep in mind, however, that you may not need to roll for this Eyes if you already have Medicinal Archer Naza, who not only has a similar magic debuff, but also increases your party's magic resistance. Unfortunately, there's not too many great single target options for dark damage to take advantage of Eyes' dark resistance debuff. Sailor Osfi has a single target dark attack, but her stats are rather low. Lunar and Chloe are dark characters, but since they are AoE based fighters, their moves won't hit quite as hard on a single opponent. The new Flavia can be a decent pairing, because even though she is AoE based, she herself has a self-dark damage buff that can work well with Eyes' dark resistance debuff. And for Eyes' notable abilities, she gains an extra 20% damage on critical hits, so make sure you equip a maxed out 30% crit Desperate on her for some insane damage. Her 35% light resistance will help against wargame fights involving popular light element characters, like Holy White Royal Riveria and Elven Awakening Flavia, as well as any encounters against enemies that use light attacks. All in all, the new Starving Mind Eyes is a pretty good single target damage dealer for boss fights, especially ones involving magic enemies like the Riveria Record Buster due to her magic debuff. Even against Otter, you'll find this Eyes useful if paired with Honor Princess Eyes, since she can take advantage of Honor Princess's physical resistance debuff, making her deal more damage than Honor Princess because Starving Mind Eyes will also take advantage of her own dark resistance debuff. Maybe at some point the Record Buster teams are just going to be comprised of Eyes and one healer. The second adventurer in the Dead Gotcha banner is Rahl Nord, the unappreciated level 4 lieutenant of Loki Familia. This is his Nightbuster form, a balanced adventurer with thunder magic attacks. His special arts is Voltage Emission, an AoE Ultra Thunder magic attack that gets a 50% increase in damage depending on how many of his own buffs are applied to himself. This special might actually hit harder than a true attacking character if both his buffs are applied, but in wargames the AI tends to use a physical attacker or magic attacker special over a balanced character anyway. But that's some food for thought. His first combat skill is Negative Electrode, a fast party-wide buff that reduces damage received by 30% for 3 turns. If this skill sounds familiar, it's because it's the skill that the popular Almighty Fighter Osfi has, a skill that makes her widely used in wargames because its offensive abilities are just that good. Being able to apply this defensive buff that usually happens during the beginning of the turn due to its fast modifier is a godsend. His second skill is Positive Electrode, an AoE high thunder magic attack that applies a 30% HP regen to himself for 4 turns. This skill is the second part to his combo, granting him a buff that makes him hard to kill due to his regenerating health. His final skill is Polarity Repulsion, an AoE mid-thunder magic attack that increases damage output by 60% for each self-applied buff, similar to his special arts effect. This final skill will hurt a lot if you have his 2 buffs applied, dealing an extra 120%. As for whether or not you should roll on Rahl, consider his synergy with other Thunder characters like Debutante Tione, Teota, and Shakti, as well as Cute Elphilvis and the new Reveria assist. Also, since its main attraction is that defensive buff, if you already have Almighty Fighter Osvi at a respectable level, you may consider skipping out on Rahl altogether. Do remember though that with this new event, you'll be able to get materials for Rahl's new character weapon from the spooky box. He should hit pretty hard with a 30% crit weapon. Rahl also sports 35% water resistance, giving him some good defense against the rather popular water units from the summer event. His solid ability also grants him 30% guard rate. If you hook him up with a breastplate and pair him up with a character like Photo, who is a good combo with Rahl, since he lacks the healing capabilities of Almighty Fighter Osvi, being able to heal the party and increase Rahl's guard rate by another 30%. Between his ability, a breastplate, and Photo, that's 75% guard rate, making Rahl insanely durable, considering he has a 30% HP regen skill as well. This boy ain't gonna die. All in all, Rahl is a solid character to use with other characters, and a good replacement for Almighty Fighter Osvi if combined with another healer like Photo. He's also capable of dishing out some good damage, so please, stop disrespecting Rahl and give this underappreciated Loki Familia member some love. Moving on to the Alive banner, we have Moonlit Wolf Bait Loga, a physical attacker, and I just want to say, his character design here looks really awesome. The outfit is fresh and the flames add a nice flair. If you take a look at his strength stat at +5, it's 1490, and I believe that's currently the highest amount of strength on a character that we have seen. So, combined with Bait's character weapon, Frostfilt, he'll be doing some great damage if you can get 30% crit on that weapon. His special arts is for Tilgan Wolf, an AoE Ultra Fire physical attack with a temporary strength boost and also heals Bait 50% of his health at the end of the turn. Not only will this hit hard due to Bait's natural high strength and potential high crit character weapon, he'll recover a healthy portion of his health as well. This could really change the tide in war games. His first combat skill is Lethality, an AoE low fire physical attack that increases Bait's fire damage by 60% for 4 turns. Like Honor Secession Bell, Bait is a character with high agility, and it's a good idea to try to use the buff setting in war games so he casts this skill first. In cases where people are using the Chloe assist to block the first physical attacks, this really helps counter that, since you're still getting the fire boost even though the damage itself is nullified. His second skill is Blood Boil, an AoE mid-fire physical attack with a temporary strength boost that also buffs his counter rate by 50% for 4 turns. Even though it's a mid-level attack, this move is worth using because that 50% counter rate is actually a substantial amount, making you get additional hits on the enemy the majority of the time. One of Bait's abilities increases the amount of damage his counterattacks do by 50%, so again, Bait is really meant to be set to buff in wargame settings. Plus, these first 2 skills work in tandem with this last one. His final skill is Eternal Thirst, an AoE high fire physical attack that heals him for 10% of the damage done by this attack, which is potentially a good amount, since this is an AoE move. You're hitting at least 4 enemies at the same time in wargames. Plus, the use of this move extends the duration of Bait's fire attack buff and counter rate buff by 1 turn. This means that you'll be able to use Bait's first 2 moves in succession to get the buffs up, and then you can just keep using Eternal Thirst to deal good damage, heal up, and extend your buffs without having to reapply them. Bait also has 35% wind resistance, which isn't too useful right now since most of the wind characters available aren't true attackers, but it'll help reduce the damage in characters like Gale Disguise Ryu and Yugata Beauty Mikoto. All in all, Bait is a great unit, having access to a potential 30% crit weapon and being able to increase his attack power with his fire buff. And his counter rate buff and ability lets him deal a good chunk of damage when he's hit. He also has great survivability with his special arts and last skill, which keeps up the duration of his buffs. Under the light of the full moon, this werewolf knows no equal. The last adventurer on the Alive banner is Wicked Elf Flavia. At her core, she is a dark magic attacker. Her special arts is Spiky Avalanche, an AoE ultra dark magic attack with a temporary magic boost. This is a pretty standard special arts, being able to deal a good bit of damage due to her high magic stat. Her first skill is Black Brand, an AoE low dark magic attack that increases her dark damage by 60% for 4 turns. Most of the time, you'll be wanting to use this move first, so you can amplify the power of all your other skills. Her second skill is Amplify Agony, an AoE mid-dark magic attack with a temporary magic boost that also decreases magic resistance by 15% for 3 turns. Now, you would think that you want to set Wicked Elf Flavia to buff in wargames so she uses her dark damage buff, and then her strongest attack. But if you want to take advantage of the magic resistance debuff, which you should, you'll need to set her to balance, so she uses her buff and debuff. You may not need to do this if you're already using Elf's Honor and Flavia on the same team, since Elf's Honor will apply a 10% debuff with her moveset. But of course, remember you'll only be able to use 2 Flavias in War Games and Record Buster. You won't be able to use 2 of the same character as an adventurer in regular quest, unless you're using a support character of course. Her last skill is Shadow Feeder, an AoE high dark magic attack with a temporary magic boost that reduces the enemy's counter rate by 25%. Not only is this a solid attack when utilizing her dark damage buff, but it also counters the counter rate buff that you'll see many teams utilize from a Mighty Fighter Osfi, a very popular wargame healer. It doesn't completely counteract the new Bates buff, but it helps. Less counters means less damage to your units, so this move is appreciated. Her 2 notable abilities give her an extra 10% damage upon critical hits, and she also gets an extra 35% light resistance, helpful against popular characters like Holy White Royal Reveria and Elven Awakening Flavia. If you're building a magic team, then this Flavia makes for a solid inclusion due to her damage buff and the extra utility she gets from decreasing counter rate. Plus, I'm actually a fan of her twin-tailed character design. If you need an AoE magic attacker, it's hard to go wrong with this new Flavia. Now let's go over the new assist. Dark Divine Reveria is available from both Halloween banners and gives a great amount of magic to the equipped character. Her assist skill reduces enemy thunder resistance by 10% and gives your allies a 10% HP regen buff. These amounts are both changed to 15% when she's limit broken to +5. For the most part, you'll be using this character in conjunction with thunder-based units consisting of characters like Debutante Tiona, Tione, and Shakti, as well as queued out Filvis and the new Nightbuster Rahl. The HP regen is attractive if you don't already have characters that can provide that for you, but there are already many options like Crunchyroll Hestia, Bunny Goddess Hestia, 4-star assist Amid, and Miak and Naza. However, if you're a newer player with the sparse amount of assist characters, it wouldn't be too bad to stick Reveria on a character that can benefit from her high magic, while also taking advantage of her HP regen. To summarize, Reveria is great on a Thunder-focused team, but on any other team, there are usually better options. I do love her outfit though, she wears those stockings well. Finally, let's go over the free 4-star assist character from the event, Living Dead Child Bell. He gives some rather moderate stats with somewhat decent health. His assist skill reduces enemy dark resistance by 8%, and increases the crit rates of your allies by 8%. These values both become 10% when he's limit broken to +5, which you should be able to do since you can acquire all his bonds from the event. When you compare this ability to the Dark Divine Reveria we just covered, you can't help but feel a bit disappointed that the percentages aren't as high, but the added crit rate is nice if you don't have access to characters like T from the Kino's Journey collaboration or Elf's Gift Aina. Outside of dark teams, I find it hard to recommend to use this spell, unless you are a newer player who doesn't have many limit broken assist and can take advantage of the stats that a +5 assist could provide. But hey, he's a free character, so I can't really complain. And that sums up my thoughts on the new Halloween characters, and I hope I was able to help you decide on which characters you like the most. I for one am going to enjoy playing through the Halloween event quest since it seems like it'll be a funny story along the same lines as the Midsummer Lover's Tale event. Don't forget that you'll be able to farm for a bond for Eyes or Rahl from the current heroic trial. You can only get one, so pick wisely or let your gacha luck decide and get the bond that will help you the most. Bates and Flavia should be the next heroic trial. Finally, I'd like to make a fun little announcement. For those of you who follow up on the Crunchyroll Games social media accounts, they recently held a contest giving away an episode Ryu poster signed by Ryu's voice actress Haimi Saori, who also happens to be one of my favorite voice actresses. As most of you know, Ryu is my favorite character in danmachi, and sometimes it's hard to get me to shut up about her. It turns out that I actually won the contest and will be getting the poster sent to me in the near future. I was pretty much in shock seeing that I won, because I don't expect to win these types of things. But I'm extremely grateful to Crunchyroll Games for holding the contest, and I'll definitely be unboxing that poster on camera so you guys can see it. Please don't be too jealous. I'm really hoping they put up some DanMemo merchandise on the Crunchyroll store, so let's cross our fingers for that. And now I'm really hoping that we get a rerun of last year's Halloween event so I can get the Halloween Ryu to celebrate. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you fellow adventurers next time. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. To stay updated on what I'm doing, follow me on Twitter and join my Discord for any questions and discussion. Continue enjoying your time adventuring in Orario and the dungeon. This is Lorne Gaming, and I'm signing out.